Hey everyone, it's Maribel Blue with a new Unfiltered. I'm not saying pathetically unfiltered because this is a new segment with a panel discussion. So before I lay everything out on what we're going to do, I want to say welcome to this channel. If you are new here, be sure you are subscribed because it is the best way to comment. And if you are not new, welcome back. As a reminder, I am still having my Serve Box fundraiser. That link will be down below. Be sure you pre-order your soap set and I can ship it off to you, and this helps small business. So this is going to be a new segment. Right now we're going to be setting it up for monthly. I have a surprise person who is going to be part of this segment. And if you are watching this channel, if you've watched it in the past, you have seen her interview. So let's go ahead and bring up Bishop.
Hey, Maribel. What's happening?
Hey.
Beautiful.
So this is going to be a news segment where we are both going to be reacting to the news as I do on Pathetically Unfiltered. Maybe we should call it still Pathetically Unfiltered. the monthly news reaction with a panel. Now, there may be other people who will come onto this panel. Right now it's me and Bishop, and that is good enough. We are going to talk a little bit about Tucker Carlson, and we're going to play Lawrence O'Donnell. But before we get started, I want to know if Bishop has any words before we react to this video coming up.
I am excited to see Tucker join the real world with the rest of us. So, because that's really what it is. We already kind of knew all of these things. Tucker is finally willing to admit that he's not admitting. I'll wait until after we watch, but I'm just glad that he finally is joining the rest of us on planet Earth. I'll
But
start.
it also makes me wonder if he's being sincere. I was watching another video. I may play that video. It
Okay.
will beg the question if he is actually being sincere. So let's go ahead and play this video from Lawrence O'Donnell, because he is talking about how America is turning against Donald Trump, which nobody should be surprised. I would imagine in his own personal business, the people who turned on him there.
Thanks. I'm sure there are plenty. I can't wait to see this.
Donald Trump. America has turned against Donald Trump again in Virginia tonight. Voters in Virginia turned against Donald Trump tonight. Tucker Carlson has now turned against Donald Trump. A new poll shows that 2/3 of Americans disapprove of Donald Trump. Donald Trump's lies aren't working anymore. Nothing Donald Trump says is working anymore. Donald Trump began his day by saying, I don't want to do that. And then he did that because he is Donald Trump, because he is the only president of the United States in history who thinks his words mean absolutely nothing. Donald Trump once again today proved that his words mean absolutely nothing when he ended his workday doing exactly what he said he didn't want to do this morning. At 8:30 a.m. in a phone call to the morning crew at CNBC, Joe
Other than sleep.
if Donald Trump's deadline for attacking Iran again, beginning tonight, was a real deadline, unlike almost every other Trump deadline.
If it looks like things are progressing, will you not necessarily extend it to a definitive amount of time, but will you let it keep going if there's progress in the talks before taking...
Well, I don't want to do that.
And then, as expected by everyone in the world, including Iran's dictatorial regime, Donald Trump's deadline evaporated at 4:09 p.m. in a social media post saying that he decided to extend the ceasefire. And now there is no deadline. Of course, this is Donald Trump's war and Donald Trump's so-called negotiating style, so surely he will issue more threats of war crimes and more deadlines that will surely once again be ignored by everyone, including Donald Trump. No one violates Trump-issued deadlines more than Donald Trump. No one ignores those deadlines more than Donald Trump. Imagine what...
So let's stop it right here. Let's talk about just that little bit of insanity, because I don't think he realizes what monster he has created with Iran. I don't think he realizes that. I don't think a lot of his supporters realize the long game Iranians will play. They have infiltrated Americans. They don't see that. I don't think that they understand that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I think that Trump absolutely understands. I think that he does. I just think that he thinks, much with arrogance that he does with everything, that he can overcome it. He is different. He is special. But his supporters will never see that. They always see it as, this is some from 4D chess, right? Because that's what they always say. Oh, no, 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 you don't understand. This is a long game. We no, it's not. He finally found a bully that is bit worse than him. That's what he found. And to your point, Iran, they are in it for the long haul. So,
Yep.
Trump can drop as many bombs as he wants. He can make as many threats as he wants. That's fine. Because to them, as long as they're surviving and they're still able to fight, they're winning. That's how they see it. It's a win for them. For every day that they get to continue to make him look weak, because that's what it looks like when you keep making threats and deadlines, but you keep moving deadlines. Well, obviously, it looks like whatever you're doing isn't working, and
Right.
obviously, whatever they're doing is. So, I think every day he's looking for a new way to try to find some way to get out of it. Like he's tried to pull in European allies, they won't help because I think that they're very well aware this war is a mess. And if we get involved, Donald Trump will do what he does to everybody that works with him. He'll throw them under the bus. So why take the risk of going and doing that only to be thrown under the bus later? So frankly, Trump is stuck. He's painted himself into a corner. I honestly really don't know how he expects to get out of it. I frankly think he's going to just let the war go on the entire time he's in office and leave that mess for somebody else to clean up because he always leaves the mess for someone else to clean up. So I think honestly, it'll just be thrown in someone else's lap for them to have to resolve. It's not
And
his.
the right, and the ones who's going to be cleaning up the mess hopefully are the Democrats who will grow some kind of a spine and never allow shit like this to happen again.
That's the thing. The Democrats, unfortunately, will be the ones cleaning it up because Republicans only know how to go to war. So their only option, their thought process would be, well, we got to go harder. Well, that means then you're going to put boots on the ground. That also means you're going to have American casualties, and there is nothing that Americans hate more, I guess, than immigrants right now is American casualties. So how do you sell that to the American public along with high groceries, no health care, high housing, all these other things? That's going to be a tough sell. So I think more than anything, Republicans want Democrats to take charge because then again, they have someone to hide behind while they say Democrats are doing this to you and Democrats are doing that to you, when in fact, all of that foundation was laid by the Trump administration and Republicans right now. So, we got a huge mess on our hands. I don't think most people really understand how big of a mess this Iran war is. I really don't think Americans get it. Do you? I mean,
No,
I don't.
I get it in the sense that it's catastrophic. That's the way I look at it. You know what I mean? It's like that tornado that just happened in Kansas where you have no control of where it's going. I was watching a video, I think from a firehouse, and they were like, did it just shift gear and change this way? Like, did it just change course? Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. You don't have control over it. And listening to I've been going to this guy's lives, Donnie. I don't know if you know him. He started doing lives again. And one of the topics that's on his background is about white supremacy, basically. Do white people believe they have I can't think of the word right now. There's a word for it where they get all of the props. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Have they
Like
experienced
preference or freight or favor or
preference?
something?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Are they experiencing more preference than everybody else? Do they
Ah,
believe they do not experience racism like everybody else? And so many, I have seen so many white people be like, well, black people could be racist too. And I'm like, no.
They think racism is a word.
Yes.
They don't
They
understand
don't
it's a power structure. They don't get that.
exactly. And you know what? I think some of them do. They just like
Mm,
to sit there and gaslight and be like, no, that's not what's really happening. And it's like, yeah, that is what's really happening.
that's fair. That's fair. I would agree with you. Some of them absolutely do know. That's why when some were pushing back against CRT, that was racism. It's going to make the kids uncomfortable. They should be uncomfortable. You're talking
Right.
about the oppression of a group of people. That shouldn't be a time to be happy. They need to learn about that. Why do you only want them to learn what makes them feel good?
And you know what? I was watching this guy on TikTok. He goes, the reason why we learned so much about what happened during World War II with the Jews. Think about them. The majority of them were white. What
Oh
was
yeah,
going on?
yeah, yeah. You're
And
right.
the empathy that we felt over what happened to black slaves. Okay, yes, black slaves, they were kidnapped, they were brought here against their will, and they were whipped, and that was the end of the story. And then they got freed. But then you start to find out the shit in between, the
Yep.
horrors, the experiments, the feeding babies to alligators. It's like, wait a minute, wait. We didn't learn this in school.
Nope. Because they didn't want you to hate the people who did it. See,
Right.
see, they didn't want you to do
Right.
that. They wanted to tell you just enough. Matter of fact, you know what they would tell you? Africans sold slaves to America. They would tell you
Yes.
that because they want
Yes.
you to hate Africans. But
Mm-hmm.
they would rather you hate Africans than hate the very people on the soil that you're on that did
That part. That
it.
part. You see? And you see the whole psychological effect. The majority of Jewish people had white skin.
Yep, yep.
So yes, they want you to be conditioned. They want to indoctrinate this ideology. And it kills me to hear even black people, talking like this.
Big
I'm
time.
like, are you out of your fucking mind?
But I think all of this is percolating and coming to a head. I'm going to tell you something that I'm seeing, and I'm going, huh? They're running out of runway on pretending that they get along. Christian nationalists and Israel, they're going to hit ahead. Something's percolating simply because of we got all this the fighting in Gaza and Israel doing the worst atrocities that one can imagine, right? But Americans are still not quite they're getting close to getting it, but especially Christian nationalists, they think they a lot of them have assumed that every Palestinian is a Muslim. That's not true. A lot of Palestinians are Christians. And
Yep.
so you have Israelis attacking Christians. And so I am wondering what happens when Christian nationalists wake up to that and go, wait a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. Because think about it. The Trump administration has been saying we've got to stop people from attacking Christians in the Middle East.
Right.
And I always go, well, wait a minute. But they make those Christians look like they're blonde hair, blue eyed. I go, well, if you're talking the Middle East, you're talking brown people, olive
Yep.
skinned folk. You're not talking about blonde hair and blue eyes, and you're certainly not talking about Israel, people from Israel. Those are Jewish people. So I'm wondering what's going to happen because I go to a lot of conservative message boards and I just like to read. And I see them slowly talking about this, going, they're not allies to us. They don't even believe in our Messiah. And I'm going, oh, interesting. What happens when this finally hits ahead? Because does that mean that Christian nationalists then become in bed with Palestinians? Or
Right.
does it mean that Christian nationalism starts trying to figure out where it belongs? Because for so long, that relationship has been directly tied, to your point, due to the war and all these other things that came before it, directly tied with Israel. And so, what happens when this other generation of conservatism and Christian nationalism starts to go, no, we're not aligned with that? Then what? That's going to be interesting to see because I think I see that bubbling up because of the imaging that's coming out of the Middle East. You see, I've been seeing imaging of attacks on Christian um, altars and statues, especially crucifixion statues, and I go, ooh, This is going to be interesting to see what happens. But if it's anything like how Christians have responded to Trump tweeting that he's Jesus, then they won't care,
Right.
ultimately.
Right.
Because that shocked me too. I mean, all of this is shocking to me, but that was
Mm-hmm.
extremely shocking to me. Watching Christians in America go, specifically Catholics, I'm not Catholic anymore because the Pope, and I'm like, what? Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The Pope, as long as I've been alive, has always kind of been untouchable when it comes to Catholicism.
Oh,
But watching,
absolutely.
but watching conservatives be like,
He
nope,
was the Messiah. When he was coming into town, that stopped everything. The
everything.
world stopped.
And politicians always got in line for the Pope. But Trump
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like the first one to really kind of buck all of that. And they're kind of
Mm-hmm.
just like, well, I don't believe in that anyway.
Now they changed
Yeah.
their mind.
So it'll be interesting to see how all this develops, especially post Trump. I can't wait to see what happens when he's out of office. And because I don't think that the grace that they give Trump will be carried over to others.
It, and it also makes me wonder, going back to the Jim Jones days,
Mm.
what happened to the people who did survive? There's a documentary my sister told me to watch because I'm,
I've seen
dare I
most, almost
say,
all of them.
obsessed because it's really understanding the psychological damage. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And she said there was a woman who knew what was going on and she hid under the bed
Yep.
until
Yeah.
it was over. And I'm
Over.
like, I can't even.
Some people
When
hid in
I
the
was,
jungle until it was over.
yeah, right. When I was doing the history, that my long form
Hmm.
documentary, like docu-series, the history of cults and the power of the lies, and I was looking for the pictures of that day.
There's something.
I'm thinking about it now, and it's like, because I found the Getty images
Hmm.
not blurred.
Ah, yeah, they're out there. And there's certain
What?
documentaries that will
I
show
mean,
you
like,
things very raw. The worst ones to me are when they play the recordings.
I've
That's
heard the
even worse.
recordings
They're bad. But
when
also
they're
they have recordings
screaming.
where it's on film too at the same time.
You got to send
So
me that link.
I'm like,
I'm like, do
that,
I really want to watch it? Because
but for
it's
me, it
just,
was always fascinating to see all of these people
mhm.
that, and something that I've seen the survivors say a lot of, they were all looking for a place to belong. That's why to me,
Yes,
Trumpism and MAGA to me is so similar to that because these
exactly.
people who are obsessed with it were also looking for a place to belong. MAGA makes them feel like they have a purpose. And I think a lot of
Hmm.
people don't understand that. So you're
Hmm.
not going to just talk to these people in a casual conversation and
Right.
convert them. It doesn't work that way. They are
Hmm.
true believers, literally. So
Hmm.
a lot of things, almost like People's Temple, I hate to say it, but almost till death has to be the wake up call that a lot of people will never wake up. They will make the ultimate sacrifice. Hello, did we forget about COVID? And ride that train all the way to the end. Unfortunately, I think MAGA is this generation's people's temple.
Yeah, that's the scary part. Well, we're going to move on to Tucker Carlson, who's been on his apology tour. Total regret, total I wish I didn't, nothing of critical thinking of what would happen if I decided to endorse this man. There was nothing of the sort. And I mentioned it in one of my last videos. These people were getting paid to spew the propaganda. You may have had an inkling of guilt, but when that paycheck hit your bank account, you weren't thinking anymore. So
Facts.
I'm going to go ahead and play this video.
Imagine what the Fox propaganda channel would be saying tonight. It's not working. Donald Trump's lies are not working. And the Trump supporting lies of the Fox propaganda channel are not working. And no one personifies the collapse of the Trump Fox propaganda machine better than former Fox anchorman Tucker Carlson, who once had the highest rated show on that network and has now turned against Donald Trump because of the Trump war in Iran. Tucker Carlson, who went from publicly supporting Donald Trump on television while privately hating him, to then publicly supporting him again, now says, we are implicated, meaning him and all Trump voters.
We're implicated in this for sure.
Yes.
It's not enough to say, well, I changed my mind, or like, oh, this is bad, I'm out. It's like, in very small ways, but in real ways, you and me and millions of people like us are the reason this is happening right now.
Yes.
So I do think it's like a moment to wrestle with our own consciences. We'll be tormented by it for a long time. I will be.
And so, people who have been against Donald Trump every day of his political career are going to have to get used to this.
I can't stop laughing.
Tucker's a great actor. Great actor. I'm gonna just go with that. Because frankly, that was the most instance. To me, Tucker is still pandering. Again, he knows that Trump is toxic, so he's trying to get ahead of it, just like Candace Owens. Everything is about getting ahead of it. It is not. It has nothing to do with really waking up, because I've seen more of that video, and the guy that he's talking to, the guy calls Kamala, I forget whatever name he called her or something like that, saying, Trump was still better than her. So if an election was tomorrow, they would still vote for it. So I go, to me, this is another layer of the grift, right? Because they know that MAGA's exiting stage left. So those people need a place to land, right? Why not come land with me? The new reformed Tucker Carlson that's aware, and I don't like what's happening. You can come over here and not like it too, because those people need a place to go. They absolutely do.
How does that even work, though? I mean, you can't hide under a bed and wait for it to be over. I mean, that's
You can, but when
that's
you're
the
in a
reality
bubble,
of it.
yeah, but when you're in a bubble, it doesn't matter, because the people who are going to call you out on it, you don't care about them anyway. So, you know what I mean? You're just going to say, oh, the usual, that's just the liberals attacking me, or that's just the such and such. You're going to use the same standard issue response to those. You only are going to care about the people that you can influence inside that bubble. Tucker Carlson's making money. That's all and he knows all these people defecting from MAGA will need a place to go. He wants to be that place. That's how I
But is
see
he
it.
going to run for office? If he wants to be that place, is he going to run for office?
No, it's way more money to be made podcasting for Tucker.
Right.
No, running for office is not any money. Podcasting is money. Because
And it makes me wait
if
before
you're
you
asking
finish
me to
your
run
point.
for office, you're asking me to
Right.
fix things. I don't want to fix things. I just want to complain about them.
Exactly. But then here's the other part. Did you see the video that I did about Michael Cohen snaking his way back into like
Oh, yeah,
MAGA?
which is crazy. But I'm not
Isn't he
surprised.
like too late for that?
But I'm
When
not
everybody's
surprised.
leaving.
I'm not surprised though, because Michael Cohen is an opportunist. He's again, he wanted to make himself look like he was better than, but again, he thought that Trump was finished and done. Quiet as kept, Donald Trump is the new Teflon Don, because frankly, he ain't done. And just when you think he's counted, you can count him out. He's like Candyman. He's back again.
Now, I believe in everything that I have been watching all the years within social media with the whole Russian propaganda shit that's been going on. I really felt that it began during the Facebook days.
I can believe that.
There was something wild going on during that time between 2006 and 2009, oddly, where I really stopped using it. I was still using it, but I started going to Twitter more.
Okay.
And once I started using Twitter a lot more, I wasn't on Facebook all that much. Remember that trend of with that song that people would recreate a younger version of a picture? You know
Oh
how they
yeah.
would all place
Mm-hmm.
themselves and they would play that song, I'm just a kid, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember they were doing it with Vladimir Putin.
Oh. Oh
I
wow.
remember the video specifically. And in my mind, when I had seen it, I said, maybe he's not that bad. He's
Oh.
part of this trend. How cool is that? They got me.
Yep.
They got me in
Mm-hmm.
that moment. And when you get a person, what does that person do? Oh my God, look! Look at what Vladimir
Yep.
Putin did. That's so cool. You're not thinking what he's really doing.
Yep.
You're not thinking he could be executing people.
Yep. You don't see him as a monster when that
Right,
happens.
right. So all of these people, when I look at Tucker Carlson, when I look at Megan Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
when I look at Candace Owen, hey, you were part of all of this shit. Jesse Twatters, who sits there, it's not fair. Well, you're a dummy. So like we can't even take you seriously. You're
Yep.
sitting here reading a fucking teleprompter. You're a born idiot. You're
Mm-hmm.
getting a paycheck. Your mom is ashamed of you. So no one can take you seriously. When something happens, yes, that's going to be your reaction.
I love his mom though. She sets him straight a lot. But
It's just
I
ridiculous.
think all of them. This is about money. Right now is a time where people are using misinformation to get money. On
Hmm.
whether it's on social media websites, podcasts, everything is about how can I monetize X to get
Right.
that money. That's really what it comes. Even if it means at the risk of sharing information that I know is a lie, that I know might be a detriment to, society. I'm still going to do it anyway because I care about money. I feel like a lot of people were being paid online to say things. It's everywhere, this type of discussion, whether it's online social media platforms or just being reading websites or whatever. It kind of it's everywhere and it gets normalized. And
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of people were paid in many ways to say things that, maybe they didn't believe in, but they were paid to say them. And
Right.
people are more inclined to believe people that they see online every day
Hmm.
than a news reporter. You know what I mean? Because they feel
Yeah.
like they have a connection with people they see every day
Right.
versus this reporter that, they would never talk back to me. But this other person acknowledges me. So I trust them. If they say it's cool, it must be
Hmm.
cool. You combine that with commercials, to your point, little online filters and tools, things get normalized that shouldn't be normalized. And before
Exactly.
you know it, it just continues to be this degradation on society where things just just everything keeps getting dropped down to a lower level. And you go, how low can we go? I don't think we've hit rock bottom yet, frankly.
Hmm.
I don't think so.
I
I think
I
everything's so
have to
normalized.
I have to agree with you. I don't think that we have. When I'm listening to these people, and I don't even go up on the panel. I'm like, I don't want to sit here and argue with people who just do not have a deep understanding or want to have a deep understanding. It's very, very disturbing. Last night, because I mod another live conversational corner, I think it's called, with Missy and Sugar Shack, and there was a guy on there, biracial, black and white, honoring more of his whiteness,
Okay.
even though not looking white, which I don't understand. And he literally was like gaslighting one of the panelists on there, talking about these numbers with the census, and and I'm like, what is so funny? Nothing is funny. What's
Right.
going to happen is you're going to be laughing now. Tomorrow you'll be crying.
Hmm.
What happened? Because you were being dumb.
Yeah.
And you were choosing to be dumb in looking at these census numbers and making it sense for you
Hmm.
and not for the bigger picture of what it is that everybody is reading. I'm purely convinced a lot of people, they're reading stuff and they're not comprehending it. They're
Well, we
trying
know
to
why.
make sense of something that doesn't make sense. It reminds me of like when I used to smoke and
Uh,
have those conversations in the park back in the 80s. You would have like those deep conversations that went nowhere.
it's kind of that same thing. Yeah, because honestly, the only thing that stops the conversation is you. Because they'll keep going loop after loop after loop with you over and over again. You'll never make any headway, any progress with them. But they will
Hmm.
keep going round and round with you as long as you want to. Because for
Right.
them, it's not about what makes sense.
Hmm.
It's about my freedom and my right. It's like society is leaning into being ignorant. They
Hmm.
they they are actually proud of not being knowledgeable, but yet passionate about something. And I don't understand how you're passionate about something that you don't have enough information or understand it enough. How can you have passion for it? You don't even understand it. But
Right.
okay. But it's a lot of that. Passion over understanding.
Hmm. Hmm. So let's close it out. What are your final thoughts on these apology tours? Real or fake?
Fake. They're grifting. This is just another way to make money, in my opinion, because all of this evidence about who Trump was always there. Trump, I'm not a fan of Trump, but one thing I can say for sure, was always clear about who he was. And did he do some lying? Sure. But he always got back to center about who he was. And
Hmm.
so anybody now that's going, I didn't vote for this is a liar. They absolutely positively did vote for this. This was draining the swamp, right? You just didn't anticipate. What it was you didn't want to acknowledge, because I don't want to say people didn't know. They did know, because it's removing responsibility from them, and I just won't allow that. But they wanted to drain the swamp, but they allowed a swamp animal to do that. So
Hmm.
now they drained the swamp of anything good, and now it's just even more a cesspool of mess. And now they want to walk away from it and just go, I ain't had nothing to do with that. I didn't know that was going to happen. And it's like, no, you knew, and you need to get back over there and clean up the mess that you made. Because ultimately, they want to walk away because they don't want to be a part of the cleanup crew. So it's just
Exactly.
scripted. Save y'all money and y'all time.
Hmm.
Don't for one second think these people get it, because if an election happened tomorrow, they'd still do the same thing.
Knowing full well the consequences. Well,
Yep.
my final thoughts on this is fake as well. Now, I was listening to David Pakman before we had started recording this, and his take on this whole thing about people in general. Not so much these podcasters, but people in general who realize that they made a mistake. And at some point, we're going to have to maybe welcome them back because we're going to need them. And I'm like, that's a good concept, a good way to look at it. But when you think about black and brown people, it ain't the
It
same.
ain't that simple.
It's not the same. And me as a Latina woman, how am I looking at other Latinos? I'm like, I don't know if I could trust you because you betrayed us. You made us look stupid. You now made us look like we're a problem. And it wasn't like that before. And maybe I'm in denial because you see, where I grew up in the Bronx, it was black and brown people. It was us. That's how I grew up. Yes, were there white people in the neighborhood? Of course, because there's always going to be a mix, especially in the Bronx. You had everybody under the sun. Irish, Italian. I mean, you even have the Italian neighborhood in the Bronx, where you get like fresh pasta and shit like that. And it's the same way with Brooklyn and Queens. You have these little villages. You have the downtown Chinatown. You have all of these little villages that you went and visit and took in this culture of the food, of whatever it is in that little village in New York City. And with social media, I feel like everything has been expounded. Because in the 80s, we didn't know what person A was doing down in lower Manhattan. We weren't privy to videos of maybe people acting racist on the street or people getting hurt. We're seeing these things now because everybody's phone is a recording device. But back then, no. So I feel like all of this apology tour is just them covering their paycheck. That's all it is.
Agreed.
So with all that being said, please let us know your thoughts. How do you feel about this segment? How do you feel about the topics? I love talking with Bishop because she's just, you got to watch her on lives. You got to watch her block people. I don't even do it for her. I mod in her and I let her take care of all the blocking because I know she gets a thrill out of it. Who let you out? You're supposed to be making a sandwich. Block guy. Oh, God. I am crying on the other end of the phone. So I am going to leave it at that. Again, you must be a subscriber in order for you to comment. This is Maribel Blue signing off with Bishop. And as always, remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.